Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before going any further, allow me to introduce myself. My name is SUHARDI. I am 6th semester student in English Education Department, Class B. I will make this video to complete my mid-semester assignment in Discourse Analysis course. And in this video, I have three main topics to discuss. There are the urgency of studying discourse analysis in ELT, and second, discourse analysis and English language teaching, and the last topic is the scope of discourse analysis. Okay, for the first topic, the urgency of studying studying discourse analysis in ELT. What are the reasons for studying discourse analysis? So there are three perspectives why study discourse analysis between academic reason, pragmatic reason, and pedagogical reasons. The academic reason is that discourse analysis is closely related to linguistics, sociology, and morphology, psychology, psychology, communication, and of course education. It is very useful for a student at college or university, especially for students majoring in English, in gaining knowledge and understanding of the function of language in social life, as well as the role of language in the construction and formation of social relation. The pragmatic reason by conducting discourse analysis can provide us with information about the function of language and avoid the difficulty of producing sentence that are appropriate to the use of a language and its context, which can lead to interaction. Because to communicate effectively in a foreign language, one must have two types of knowledge, namely structural and functional. Pedagogical reason by conducting discourse analysis can provide information about the use of language in communicative situation, which inspire teacher and the practitioners. They use a reference source for formulating curriculum, designing syllabus, preparing teaching materials, and determining language teaching methods. So, what are the difference between discourse analysis and error analysis in terms of their genesis and focus? Error analysis is carried out with the scope of language teaching and learning, with the aim of assisting students in solving error problems to increase use of their English. Error analysis is carried out solely to provide information to teachers about the forms of error that are often made by students. This information is then considered as problem points for learners in learning foreign language. Therefore, in addition to teaching in the correct sentence structure, teachers are also required to prevent students from making mistakes when speaking. So, whenever an error is found, the teacher must immediately correct it. However, because it is considered to have many shortcomings, because it does not place too much emphasis in teaching culture in language teaching, and is considered to have a less broad scope to analyze. Meanwhile, in discourse analysis, because of the need for the form and function of information, this sociocultural aspect. In language teaching, the background of research and discourse as a pioneer in the emergence of discourse analysis as a discipline uses to describe language in context. This topic is talking about discourse analysis and English language teaching. So there are three questions in these topics. What are discourse and discourse analysis? Okay, first discourse. From Edmondson says that discourse is a structural event manifest in linguistic behavior or other where areas is a text is an arrangement of structural linguistic expression which form a unity. From Crystal states that discourse is a continuous stage of especially spoken language larger than a sentence, often constituting a coherent unit such as a sermon, argument, joke, or narrative. So discourse refers to an approach commonly used to examine language in the use of its social contents. And discourse analysis. From Stubbs, discourse analysis refers to the attempt to study the organization of language above the sentence or above the clause, and therefore to study larger linguistic units such as a conversational exchange or written text. Demo and Douglas describe discourse analysis is the examination of language used by the members of a speech community. It involves looking at both language from and language function and include the study of both spoken interaction and writing text. It identifies language features that characterize different genres as well as social and cultural factors that aid in our interpretation and understanding of different texts and types of talk. So, what are teaching and English language teaching? To understand what teaching is, it is necessary to use two ways, namely the virtual way and the ritual way. The virtual way is a way to find out the definition of the word teaching that comes from or is obtained from the internet or online dictionaries that have been proven true and clear. Here are some examples from Oxford dictionaries. Impart knowledge to or instruct as to how to do. To how and to do something. From Calling Dictionary, to work the work that teachers do in helping students to learn. From several definitions delivered from the online dictionary, I can conclude that teaching is a job done by a teacher by providing knowledge or skills to help students learn. The second way to get the definition of teaching is through the ritual way. Ritual way is a way of knowing the definition by making a observation of teaching activities that occur in a class repeatedly. Then after that describes the tasks and activities carried out by a teacher, and finally interprets the tasks and activities to explain the meaning of teaching. So by using the virtual way, we can define teaching with three main stages, namely planning, implementation, and evaluation. Planning, or what is also called pre-teaching, are things that a teacher must prepare before carrying out a teaching. These things include teaching materials, or what will be taught to students, and teaching methods, or how to teach teaching materials that have been determined. To find out what kind of teaching materials will be taught to students, you must use a needs analysis, while to find out how to teach what will be done, you must use situation analysis. The second stage is implementation, or also called while teaching. This stage is an activity or action taken by teacher in providing knowledge or skills to students. The action is in the form of a teaching methodology, which includes starting, presenting, and ending lessons. And in the process, teachers uses or chooses a method that include decisions about how the teacher delivers lesson, how to encourage students to be active in classroom activities, and how to choose and use teaching instruments. The last stage is evaluation, or what is also called post-teaching. Is a stage where a teacher explains how students understand the material that has been taught, and whatever that goals that have been set at the beginning have been achieved or not. In other words, at this stage, teacher will assess how effective the learning has been. So from some of the things I have explained earlier, we can conclude that the teaching English is process in which a teacher imparts knowledge or language skills that students have just learned through three stages, namely planning, implementation, and also evaluation. What is the relation between discourse analysis and ELT? To understand this, there are two perspectives, namely theoretical perspective and factual perspective. Based on theoretical perspective, many English learners have correctly used speaking skills according to grammatical structure, but are still wrong when using natural speaking skills that are easy to understand. This is what is called pragmatic difficulty, or when speaking to other people, what is mean is not understand or makes the other person feel uncomfortable. From a situation like this, it will be conclude that how a student learns English and how his English teachers teaches him. From a factual perspective, in Indonesia, many students of English encounter the same problem as stated in the theory. This happens because the student receive many inputs of English form but less in English functions. Teaching English through drilling the rules of grammar and memorizing vocabulary has been teaching orientation of many English teachers in Indonesia. Now, What must be done to deal with this is to make language discourse important and must be studied well by students and teachers because the form and function of language are interrelated with each others and should not be separate. So, how is language related to discourse? I can say that the relation between the two is inseparable from each other because, as we know, language is a tool used to communicate while discourse is a tool to express what you want to communicate. I can even say that there will be no discourse if there is no language, and vice versa. This topic, the next topic is talking about scope of discourse analysis, and there are several questions. What is spoken discourse? The ideas concerning spoken discourse. A language is verbally used by using speech in communication. It constitutes a series of conversational system of sounds. Its actual representation is speaking. Spoken discourse. Discourse that is conveyed orally through oral media to achieve, understand, and enjoy. Then the recipient must listen or listen to it. Spoken discourse is the delivery of discourse through oral or direct media. In other words, the representation of oral discourse is speaking. So it can be said that understanding speaking means understanding spoken discourse. So next, what are the difference between classroom and casual conversations? First, in casual conversation, people do not need to put their hands up if they want to speak. In classrooms conversation, students are expected to do if they want to say something. Second, according to Barnes, teachers rarely ask questions to which they do not already know the answer. In real life, people normally ask questions to find out something they do not know. The third is from Delamon. State that in the classroom, teachers are expected to follow up the pupils' response with some kind of evaluation, like "good girl," "that's right." But outside the classroom, this type of follow-up would be quite out of place. From such confirm that in casual conversation there exists quite a complicated machinery for ordinary speakers. Secondly, in the classroom, it is usually the teacher who decides who will speak next and for how long. The reasons for analyzing the discourse. Reason for discourse analysis of classroom conversation. To show its typical characteristic in terms of structure, function, and so forth, which have made it different from casual conversation. To encourage the student to know and to use the characteristic when they are in the classroom settings and want to involve the conversation there is. To see what goes on the classroom and to evaluate the end products of our teaching and that of our students. Reasons of casual conversation. The first is student will be able to recognize what type of communication match in situation. The next is student will be able to identify types of utterance used by the native speaker under a certain condition. If they have to speak under similar condition, some of time the student will be able to use the expression because they have know how someone else speakers in that situation. How to analyze the discourse? So we must focus on several things, namely sentence cohesion, tracking the relationship between sentence speech, move, speech acts. So there are three things when analyze the discourse. It's called ERF pattern. I stand for initiation, or someone initiates conversations. R stands from response and F stands for feedback. For example, initiation. Person 1. Now then, I have got some things there too. Hands up. What's that? What is? Analyze the teacher initiates the conversation by saying now then and ends of initiation by asking a question about something. This means that the initiation brings the function of asking, so the initiation functions as asks. Response. Analyze. A student then answer the question by saying so the response function as answer. And feedback. Analyze. The teacher acknowledge the answers by saying it's a so, and comment on it by saying yes, this is a so the feedback function as comment. According to Sinclair and Coulthard, each unit is called an exchange and each part in the exchange is called a move. Each exchange in the data consists of 3 moves, which function and a question for the first move, an answer for the second move, and a comment for third move. Every exchange must have an initiation addressed by a speaker in the form of statement, a question, or a comment. And it will be responded by the speaker interlocutor in the form of words or action. Each response from the interlocutor will be followed by the speakers in the form of communication or graduate. What things are found from the analysis? The first is the discourse sequence, which has formed the dialogue. The second, the function of each segment of the discourse sequence. What are the implication of the analysis results to teaching and learning speech delivery in ELC? To be successful in social interaction, students should be taught not only how to master language from, but also to know knowledge function, because speakers in real social interaction frequently express their utterances which function have nothing to do with their utterances. Conceptual meaning. And yet, one form may perform 2 or more functions in vice versa. Teaching the language function will help the student to function the language form. Effectively, socially, and naturally in real life conversation. When the students are good at language form but not at language function because they are never talk about it, they will easily encounter pragmatic difficulty regarding to understanding and using language function when trying to communicate in real situation. The pragmatic difficulties potentially make the student unable to communicate language form socially, naturally, and effectively. For communication, I think of enough for me, and I delivered thanks for Sir Kaharudin as my lectures and the material he has given and taught me to support the success of making this video. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.